What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Off the Record. You love Off the Record because we love Off the Record, and you are an extension of we. No, for real though, every single week I get an email from somebody thanking me for introducing them to Off the Record. They say something like, yo, I got allegedly busted doing 80 and a 65, and I remember you talking about Off the Record, and I hit them up, and it's golden. It was dismissed. It was reduced. Off the Record are clutch players, and they are here for you. They help you fight tickets. That's their whole entire role in life. And if you go to offtherecord.com/TST or you download the Off the Record app and use code TSTPOD, TSTPOD, we will save you 10% with all legal services from Off the Record. Off the Record is not a law firm, but what they do is they set you up with a qualified partner attorney in the jurisdiction where you got the ticket. Could be a big ticket, could be a small ticket, but all tickets become big over time because their insurance gets hit, there's legal fees, there's more to it than just pleading guilty and moving on. That's why you need professional help. So go to offtherecord.com/TST or use code TST10 on the Off the Record app, and that'll get you 10% off. Off the Record will go to court for you. They'll deal with the prosecutor, the judge. You can pretty much clear your mind of it after that, knowing you have qualified legal representation. Again, one more time, offtherecord.com/TST or code TSTPOD on the Off the Record app. And now, let's get to the show. All right, folks, today we are joined by, top 10 most famous Kansasan right now. Tyler Hoover is in the building. Tyler Hoover is the king of buying the cheapest of anything on sale in America, and he has parlayed that to YouTube fame, cable TV fame, Car Trek, which bridges the gap sort of between YouTube and cable TV. He owns over 20 cars. He's owned probably hundreds of cars, some of them amazing, and some were total pieces of crap. But it's great to have him back after 7 long years. Tyler Hoover of Hoovy's Garage is on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
Okay.
Tyler Hoover's in the house.
Hello.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome to our side of the country.
It's been a long time.
7 years?
Yeah, 2017. You're like a full daddy now. I mean, it looks good on you. And Zach, whatever you're doing, is exactly the same.
I have a blood boy.
You know, we're the same age.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, whatever his cult, whether they're the human
sacrifices
or whatever, to where he doesn't age or whatever kale dieter thing
Baby
he's
seals.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he is like I'm the Biff Tannen 1985, and he is he's the Crispin Glover 1985 at the end. It's like I'm a real hard 42.
He had fun in high school, and I'm having fun as an adult, I think. And when I'm 60, we'll meet.
Yeah, right.
Well, I like the reference you said, I don't know how long ago it was, but if it was me with the sideburns, then I was an asshole. And if now, like your comparison of yourself, don't watch it if I still have the sideburns.
Yeah. How do you know? What do you think about that car? Did I have sideburns when I made the video? Dad, you probably don't listen to it. That's funny. What brings you to town?
Well, I'm selling some cars on Cars and Bids, so I'll go south from here to visit Daddy Doug. And hopefully
what are you selling?
I have a million-mile Ram Cummins 2004 HHR SS panel, 190,000 miles. And then the nice one is a 21,000-mile M6, 2006 Indianapolis Red.
V10? Mm-hmm. Okay. Coupe or coupe? Okay. Yeah. Is it a stick?
It is not a stick. Right. I started to do the conversion, then bought the wrong car with the wrong transmission. It was a 20,000-mile car that drove so well. I felt stupid to do it, so I just kind of...
Indianapolis Red. Is it the dark red? Mm-hmm. That exact car is the very first car I did 200 miles an hour in.
Really?
That's a 200-mile-an-hour car. Wow. Ocean Parkway. Shout out to him. Long Island. That's where you would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, there it is. And
there it is, yeah.
And then... And the kind people of Long Island, the governing body, they figured out that if they just let the tarmac deteriorate over time, that people would stop doing roll races there.
Jeez.
And they were right.
So this wasn't your fastest to get a ticket challenge from all those years ago. This was just for fun.
Fucking, you know how often that 240p clip circles around Instagram?
It's about a once a year sort of thing for me. Oh, it's popped back up again. I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah. Oh, is it the 24th already? Yeah. That's cool. All right. Well, those are all right. I mean, that's when it was new, that was a fucking car. That was a hell of a car.
Yeah, I was working at the BMW dealer. It was Chevy, Cadillac, BMW, because in Kansas, it's all sort of combined together.
Cadillac,
and so
BMW.
The C6 Z06 and the M6 were the two hottest cars when I was working there.
Sure. And what's a million-mile Cummins Ram look like? Is it decent?
It's in really good shape. It put 900 pound-feet of torque on the dyno because it's been tuned. And original engine, transmission 2, 3, 4, who knows? 26-page plus Carfax. No, it's not automatic. But it's fine. It's the bid's $10,000, which I paid $11,000 for it. I thought I was being crazy, but it's that pre-emissions, all that gobbledygook where diesels aren't worth owning nowadays. It's before all of that, so there's still a huge following for it.
And what were you doing with an HHR panel truck?
I just saw it and had to have it. It's one of 216.
It's an SS panel truck?
Yes.
Those are very rare.
Very rare.
Why did they even make that?
I don't know, but it's like the rarest Chevy performance car made in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And
I think we just talked about it because we did we did a top 5 list that was like either front wheel drives or sleepers or bang for your buck list. We did a bang for your buck list, and someone was talking about the Cobalt SS, which is the same as the HHR underneath. Great powertrain, shitty car.
Right.
But the panel truck, I mean, that
had to be peak nostalgia design, right? That had to be the tipping point.
Was Bob Lutz involved in that?
Oh, I think so, but they were the answer to the PT Cruiser, but they were 5, 6, 7 years behind. So everybody had already bought the PT Cruiser, so the HHR was a failure from the beginning. And
wow, someone cut one into a pickup. Look at that article from The Drive. That's neat.
They made an F-150.
It's like a mini SSR, I guess.
Doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't look that terrible,
It'd
actually.
be more functional, probably, than the SSR.
Is the panel truck, is it bare metal on the inside, or does it have an interior?
No, no back seats, so it's just plastic. They have hidden cubbies where the rear seats would be to hide things and big rubber mats. And this one was actually used 190,000 miles. They used it for work. And
what was it? What work was it in?
I have no idea. But I did the old Top Gear trick with it, because it's a panel to where you can do the rear door. And I had Oldmeyer's cocktails on it. And when you opened the door, it said, "Oh, cock," like James May's catchphrase.
Oh, that has rear doors.
Yeah, it has rear doors that are electric poppers. And it still has interior door handles and rear cup holders and things because they couldn't completely take it out. But yeah, it's very practical for a lot of people do still use them as shop vehicles and delivery vehicles to this day. Not the SSs, obviously, but they're very cheap to maintain and pretty reliable.
190,000 miles. It's all right.
The motor blew once on it.
What do you think? Shocking. What do you think that'll get?
The current bid's at $6,100. I paid $6,500 for it just for the gimmick, We'll see.
So far, I think you're looking up.
I think so. With 2 days to go,
I think you're looking up.
Yeah, I put $1,000 in it to fix things like the CVs were clicking in the turns, and the brakes were literally $20. I think for the front, the pads and rotor. Like it was ridiculously cheap.
Yeah. It's made of the worst parts imaginable.
I suppose.
I mean, it's like
I gotta tuck it up in case it's the best thing ever. But
it's literally a Cobalt under there.
Right.
It's like but rarity. I mean, bring that shit to Barrett Jackson. Fucking respect to Doug and everybody, but like this is one of 7 built-in fucking racing red on a Thursday.
Well, that's where I bought it. I bought it at Barrett Jackson.
Get the fuck out of here. You bought it at Barrett Jackson?
The person had bought it at Barrett Jackson 10 years prior, used it as his work vehicle, put 100,000 miles on it, and then sold it.
Work truck at Barrett Jackson?
I don't know.
Insane.
Yeah. So I've been working for them for 4 years now doing their live TV coverage. And I would do it again, except a car that's worth $6,000, by the time just ship it there and then the entry fee and they pay the fees. But I've sold a lot at Barrett Jackson.
Did you buy it while working?
Yes.
So
live TV.
We did some Meekum shit once, and that was like, I was all right, I'm going to do an hour of TV on Meekum, and I had a great time. But I was like, just guys, what happens if we're commentating and I want in? And he's like, go for it. Like, that's cool. You could do that.
Yeah.
So that's rad.
Well, they asked me to like step off the block and not do like while I'm talking. Oh, I'm betting on this one. But yes, I've done
sneakily raise a paddle.
I bought my SLR McLaren while I was working in Houston. I bought my Maybach 62 while I was working. It was the Houston auction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought the Grand
Buy
National.
an SLR McLaren, walk out. They're like, we're paying this guy too much. This is bullshit.
I suppose. Yeah.
Do you like that thing?
I do. So I had the SLS and the
polarizing
SLR
car.
at the same time.
Okay.
And the SLS drives better. I took it on cross-country trips. We did a car trek with it. I was happy to take that anywhere, but the SLR just felt, even though it has the weird transmission, the weird brakes, it just feels more special. It feels like an experience. I enjoy. When I had the two next to each other, I would hop in the SLR, which I'm the minority for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, you and Jay Leno. Leno loves his SLR. Most other people that I know don't like them that much, but they still bring huge money. I mean, I'm surprised.
Well, compared to their MSRP, that car of that era, compared to there's on the magazines with the Enzo and the Carrera GT, and those are bringing crazy money. This was a $500,000 car new that's now $300,000.
True, but I thought once the SLS came out that would just kind of like invalidate it because it's objectively better.
Yeah.
But they hit a floor and then kind of bounced back a bit.
Yeah, well, I think just because of my connection, I got to drive one when I was young, and just it's ingrained in my memory. When I did Jay Leno's show, he blindfolded me. I had to guess. I knew what the car was immediately because one of them was the SLR McLaren. And,
the touching thing? Where you
the touching thing. Yeah. And that's the car that broke during the filming. The throttle position sensor, which is very common on any Mercedes of that era, just quit to where there was no throttle. It was idling the entire time.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Oh. Jay always, every time, I don't know why it always would come up every time I'd say, it's the only one that would actually do 200 every time. Like, all right, cool, I guess. But it was never really for me. But that's okay. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Well, and I was jealous of Ed Bullion because he got Paris Hilton's. He eventually sold that. But they have them sized to the seat, so it's Paris Hilton size, so you get in it and you're
real tiny.
You don't fit.
Did they really size everybody to the seats? I don't know.
Well, I think there were 3 sizes, and she got the small. Yeah.
I guess you're good fucking luck getting a new seat now, right? They're not. They're definitely not doing that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we've got cable TV.
Yes.
We've got car issues
since
on cable
2017.
TV.
We've been doing a lot, I guess.
Yeah. Right. We've got how many car treks? 7, 8,
10.
10.
We did
The 10. Holy shit. And now you've got your morning chat show.
Yes.
With your fiance. You got a lot going on here, and we're apparently doing Barrett Jackson, and we're also like side flipping cars on YouTube.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't call it flipping as much. It's always been what I've done, because if the car's terrible and I lose my ass on it, then it makes for great videos. I get a lot of videos out of that. If it's a good car, then maybe I don't really usually make a lot of money selling them, but sometimes. So it's cool to be in a no-lose.
A direct inverse relationship.
Right.
Yeah. Is it ever, have you ever really, really out-earned the losses on the car? Is it always a net profit?
Oh, yes.
Or it's never been a double fail?
I'm trying to think of, early on there was some big hits, but no, not in the last 3 or 4 years, I would say.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And of course, I have to ask you about this Turbo R because 800 people emailed me.
I'm so sorry.
Whatever. But I was like, they were like, oh, Hoover had a fucking Turbo R that was a piece of shit. I was like, yeah, but isn't that his thing? It's
right.
Like buying pieces
well,
of shit.
because Leno did the same thing because he's like, you've done so much damage to the Turbo R because mine's been totally reliable. So why, they're great cars. I'm like, well, mine broke about every time I drove it.
So what do you think went wrong? Did you just buy the wrong one, you think?
I think it was but it was just random things, like there's a little diode behind in the instrument cluster that went out, and then that caused the car not to start when I was getting it inspected at the tag office.
Great. Yeah.
It was just stupid stuff like that. And also, the mineral oil stuff, like it got serviced, and then my car would drop a little bit, and it would come out the overflow, and then just leave a puddle every time I parked it, which was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. Puddles aren't good. Puddles, smoke. These are not things you want.
But the drivetrain was always solid, and it didn't have any. It was just like a lot of breakdowns. But I should have known because I made videos about this E63 wagon that I had. It was green, 200-something thousand miles. It broke all the time. This guy wanted to trade the Turbo R, and we just like I told you, we threw turds at each other because across the country we're all just covered in each other's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like driving it when it worked?
I did. Yes. Yeah. I turned around. I think at the same time there's a brief overlap where I had the 2001 Bentley Azure that Jean-Claude Van Damme bought new.
I considered bidding on that when it was at Cars and Bids.
Yeah.
And I decided against it ultimately because it was enormous and it was not a 4-door and I mean just is what it is. But but for a second I was finger on the trigger for that one.
Are the pedals separated and on either side of the doors? Because then you could only operate them doing the splits.
Oh right,
Van
yes. I did do that pose for a thumbnail, definitely.
Yeah.
I couldn't go very far as Van Damme, not very flexible.
That roof mechanism, oh my God.
So it had 2 previous owner repairs that were both over 10 grand each. I think 15 or so. I never got caught with the roof repair, thankfully, on that one. That one was very reliable, surprisingly, and I got it for $25,000.
I mean, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone talks about like these sort of mid 2000s cars and like gearboxes, like the Ferrari F1 gearboxes, whatever. About these are. No one talks about roof mechanisms.
Right.
Ferrari 360s and 430s or Californias.
Yeah.
Fucking God help you if one or a Mercedes R129.
Yes.
If that roof mechanism goes, fuck, you're in for it.
My
dude.
friend was a VW tech, and someone needed to replace their EOS mechanism, and he was like, it was $8,000 because it's so complicated.
Right. Well, like the Fiat 500s with the sort of
with the California tops, the rollback.
When those fail, oh my God.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
That's why I'm pro Targa roof. I like when you can just pull that off, 2 levers, now we're good to go.
Right.
This Azure is massive. It's
a big one. Look at this layout compared to a Caprice wagon.
Yes,
Roadmaster
Estate.
Sorry.
So when I did this with Doug last year, that was part of the collection I was selling. So,
I mean, that Azure is boss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Did it drive good?
It drove really nice, and I started doing the videos on it. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, through his son, reached out to me and wanted to buy it back. And I have to have this car back. This car saved my life. It was at the best time of life when I did. And so he said, I want to ship it to O'Gara to get it looked at, and if it's good, then I'll buy it. But whatever you want. And so we were going through setting it up.
So weird. It's like this one. I must have this one car.
Right.
It's this one specific car. It's so important to me. By the way, it's going to need a PPI.
Yeah.
Right.
And you had just buried it in your yard under dirt.
You're fucking rich as fuck. Like, you could deal with it, whatever, later.
Right. Okay. I mean, just even if he says no after the inspection, just the experience of doing it, the story.
Sure.
And it never got shipped because he went to the Bentley dealership. And I guess he went in there and they said, oh, you don't want that. You want this new one here. And I guess he bought a new one instead. And,
Son of a...
Yeah.
What?
Right. I didn't care because I didn't want to sell it at the time. I still had it 2 years, I think, after that.
Yeah.
But that even highlights Matt's point further, where he's like, I'm going to get a PPI to make sure nothing's wrong. And they're like, what if we sell you this car that costs 10 times as much?
Dude, the dude's got massive ADD. A friend of mine made a movie with him. Yeah, he's got massive ADD. Like, you can't pin the guy down.
Well, he was nice enough to send me an autograph photo, and he said, I drove that Bentley to this photo shoot.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so he was considerate and all that.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. I'm just saying he was kind of a lunatic, which tracks.
Right.
All right. So but so the Turbo R, just for my own knowledge, money in was a traded, busted E63 wagon.
Correct.
Straight trade. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you got rid of it eventually.
Yeah, I sold it on Cars and Bids, actually.
And
what did
it get?
Low teens, something like that.
So there's with Turbo Rs, there's a big spread of is it a one owner or 2 owner, like fully documented from new. It could be 35 or 40 grand.
Right.
And then there's all the other ones with holes in the records and whatnot that are like 12. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it goes.
It was painted with a broom. That was its big problem. Some kind of Mako type paint job on it. But it was a California car all its life other than that, and did have service records.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that that's not how my
yours
ownership
is way
experience.
nicer.
It so far we've done 1,600 miles, and so far we're pretty good. We're all right.
Do you think your story drove the market down and made Matt's car more affordable?
I've been blamed on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
I would say that's
McLaren
helpful.
12Cs, in my experience in the videos with that, every 12C owner at the time just hated my guts. I'm like, no, this is just the story of McLaren 12Cs.
Yeah,
it was like the first year of this very complicated car,
Yeah.
and of course they're much better now.
Oh, it's the Camry of Norwich. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not known for.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12Cs, they're your fucking new shooter coming in.
Right, yeah, because it was an engine and 2 transmissions. And that car didn't even have 30,000 miles on it,
Yeah.
among other
Damn.
things. You know,
Yeah.
the iris screen going out, and it had corrosion happening on the hood because that was it was a weird of the metals
Some
touching,
alloy, yeah.
and the headlights clouding. There's a lot.
They
of
were
stuff.
figuring shit out. They were definitely figuring shit out. Driving one of those, when you went from a Gallardo to a 430 to a 12C, you were like, whoa, in 2010.
Right.
It was like, holy shit, this is a new thing we've got going on here, and everyone else is going to have to catch up to this.
Yeah.
But over time, McLaren has figured out how to build some really nice cars.
I actually traded it for a gated Gallardo.
Oh, really?
And
That's a good buy.
like straight trade. It was 6,000 mile 2004 Gallardo, and I was jumping for joy.
Yeah. Still have it?
No, I'm not that smart. Yeah.
04s, but the manuals are
Right.
all right. Yeah, the manual Gallardos are. I think time will prove those cars are worth holding on to.
Definitely.
Especially the later, like the LPs with the manual. Like, those,
Yeah.
those are fucking tasty, and the R8s too.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you sitting on right now? How many cars are we sitting on right now?
I'm a little lower right now, so I'm in the 20s, which is good for me. But it's quantity, not quality. Keep that in mind. So the nice ones.
So what's the spread? Like, what's the shitboxest and then the nicest one?
The 89 25th Countach is the nicest one.
Okay.
And that,
which you kind of scored on that one, right? The silver one.
it's white. It's a pearl white, and then I had the VT Roadster at the same time.
Oh,
you
got it as a pair, right?
I got it as a pair for
Yeah.
$250.
That's unbelievable.
In the end of 2020, and it was a neurosurgeon in Kansas who lived on a dirt road, and every time he got sort of depressed or down, he would buy himself an exotic. He had 2 Countaches, he had the Diablo, he had a Testarossa, he had all kinds of things in there. And he was opening a tank museum and got into tanks. Like the same attitude was like, oh, now I'm just going to buy a tank. So he lost all interest.
That's like the meme. It's like, if I win the lottery, I won't tell anybody, but there'll be signs. That's Tank Museum.
Well, he lived in this mansion, and beautiful, ornate, hand-carved bar, and because he's a neurosurgeon, his downtime is like drawing figurines, painting and all that stuff. And so he had his whole shelves filled with all the figurines that he had hand painted, big reptile cages. He's a single guy.
Yeah.
And obviously, and he just wanted what he paid for the cars 8-10 years ago.
That's crazy.
I sold the Diablo, put a little money in it, maybe 20 grand or so, because that one had been sitting a lot, and sold that one for around, it's been a few years, but around 300. So then I had the Countach for
free.
Yeah.
That's the best fucking score of all time.
I'll never have that ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable score.
And I didn't negotiate. It was just, this is what I want. He didn't know where the titles were because he said, I just moved.
Fuck it,
and I
I'll
was
get a bond, bro. Whatever.
Right. I said, okay, I'm leaving you a check. I'm going to go get a battery for the Diablo so it'll start and we can drive out of here. Look and see if you can find the titles.
Yeah.
But we'll be right back in 30, 45 minutes. And by miracle, he did. I drove down the dirt road in the rain home with these cars because there's no way. He made one phone call, it would have been over.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Did you just not know what they were worth? Hey kids, got to take one quick break because we are brought to you today by GiveMeTheVin.com. A lot of times folks are talking about how to sell you a car. What about if you want to get rid of a car? GiveMeTheVin.com is the quickest and easiest way to do it. It could be your old pickup truck, it could be a boring-ass Camry, or it could be a Lambo. Whatever it is, if you want it gone for the right price and fast, GiveMeTheVin.com/smokingtire is the place to do it. Use that code or that tag at the end of the URL so they know that we sent you, like a good advertiser and a good listener. You feel me? But of course there's the auction sites. If you want to really photograph your car, document it, if it's a true enthusiast special, I understand. They're great. But so many of you also have regular cars, or so many of you want to sell your car. You need that cash fast. don't go to CarMax. Don't go to Carvana or any of those other big lots. GiveMeTheVin.com. You can deliver the car to them or they'll come get it from you. GiveMeTheVin.com/smokingtire is the way to do it. They'll give you the best price for your car and fast. And thank you to GiveMeTheVin.com/smokingtire for supporting today's podcast. Let's get back to the show. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and is it? I mean, you're about my age, right? I'm 42.
37.
Okay, so but for you, timing wise, the Diablo would have been it over the Countach, right?
You'd think, but my dad had a poster, the Alpine poster, Countach, in college.
We all did.
And then he hung it basically over my crib. When the kids' room, like, it had to migrate into my room, and so I always had that poster.
Yeah, I had the Pirelli Alpine collab poster. It was tires by Pirelli, sound by Alpine. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Body by Lamborghini.
Yes.
And that, yeah.
Yeah, those were fucking classy.
Yeah.
That's cool. And the Countach works?
The Countach works. Cold air. We did the Countach rally a few years ago with it.
Oh, with the curated one?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't fit in it that well, but I don't care.
The seats they did for the 89s are weird. I don't fit in those seats either, and I fit in my 87 just fine, although I have to take my shoes off.
Yeah.
The pedal box sucks.
I can do that. It's just folding in. I call it Lambo yoga, getting all that stuff.
It's not graceful either way.
It flat tops my head to look 80s,
Yeah,
because
no.
the spikes just pop it down.
Yeah, it helps to not have hair.
Yeah.
I brush, you're fucking really nice. Okay, so that's the high end. We've got the Countach, and then what's deep into shitbox?
The latest crappy car is a Lemon Law buyback Range Rover Evoque convertible.
Oh, yikes.
And
Why was it lemoned?
Well, it's actually just a rear hatch that they couldn't get the part for because it's a special part for the convertible. And they're digging out the pond in this farm area that I bought. So it's like a giant mud pit. And so last week I was just thrashing the thing, off-road, jumping berms, all this. And somebody had poured in, right before it was sold to me, the mechanic in a can for like a head gasket sealer or whatever. And all that full throttle stuff in the mud finally just blew the hose. And it was copper glitter everywhere from this mechanic in a can stuff. Because it's a Ford 2-liter turbo.
Yeah, it's a Focus ST engine, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
But until that happened, I had to purposely get it stuck.
So is it like Dunzo now?
No, we're fixing it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's
maybe you could find
goofy.
like a Focus RS engine somewhere.
That's an idea.
Swap that in.
Yeah.
Because what used that also? The Lincoln MKT also used that. Is it MKT? One of the MKC? Fucking, I don't remember. One of the Lincolns used it, the 2.3 turbo, but it fits.
Yeah.
Wherever in the same thing. That could be fun.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Yeah, they're pretty shitty though.
It's
they're pretty rough.
Like April's. Like, I'm not riding in that.
Yeah.
I look like a discount store Ken. It's embarrassing for sure.
Do we think over time, the Murano cross cab and that will see a long-term collectability?
Well, the funny thing is, you can't find that Land Rover for under 30. Most of them are still in the 40s, which you'd think that they would have gotten cheaper, but because it's the last convertible Land Rover I think they've made, that there's still a following for
I bet
people
the people who have them love them and will never. It's like Subaru Bajas.
Yeah.
Like good fucking luck finding one of those things. Like what are they like 07s or something, and they're still like $25,000 for Subarus.
Right. Yeah, I found a Baja Turbo that was so badly rusted but looked perfect because of all the cladding that's on it. And we went to put it on the lift, and it just broke through the post just broke through it. It was so cheap, it was worth it as a parts car for the turbo engine, the WRX engine. But
Yeah. But a good Baja is like a ton of money. Yeah. People don't get rid of those things.
No.
Yeah. That's awesome. So like now you've done YouTube, you've done Car Trek, which is sort of high production YouTube, relatively speaking, and you've done cable TV.
Yes.
What makes you happiest? Where do you like to be?
I still like doing my YouTube stuff. The Car Trek's really fun for us to play Top Gear, in a small way where it's not a huge production where, oh my God, I didn't get that in focus. I got to do this again. Not too much of that compared to television where it's very tough to be organic in that environment. But yeah, I haven't quit the day job, the YouTubing once or twice a week for almost 8 years now.
Yeah.
So,
But do you find the process of making television, I mean, cable television, frustrating? I did.
it's tough. Yeah, but we would film a season in 6 weeks. And the first season was originally for Verizon Go 90. They were trying to make a Netflix for their Verizon customers, spend $100 million as quickly as possible. So we had a big budget. And then right when we finished, they said, we're not doing this anymore. So the show got sold cheap to the History Channel and FYI. And that's how I got on the radar for Barrett Jackson, because it moved networks to there. And then the last 2 seasons were at Motor Trend. And Motor Trend, their Motor Trend Plus subscription just went dead.
It just went away.
For season 2, my metric was how many new subscribers could I get to watch on their Motor Trend Plus app. And that was very easy because they had like a 99-cent promotion to be like, get on Motor Trend. So I would mention in my YouTube videos, instant renewal for season 3.
Yeah.
Then season 3, Warner Brothers takes over Discovery, and they say, well, the metric for success now is TV ratings, which getting a YouTube audience over to TV doesn't happen. And I was still rating. It's so weird because the TV is so bad nowadays to where like I'm in the top 80 of 150 shows on my night, and that's 200,000 people watching.
Wow.
On all of cable.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Well, it's pretty good, but if you look at
Small
it compared
number
to
YouTube, yeah.
like
Well,
that's my YouTube video, I'll spend no money and get 500,000 people to watch, and where this is like $100,000 budget an episode, and 200,000 people are watching. Like, how does this work?
I don't know how that math works either, but I think there's something to the fact that they're watching when it's on and not like whenever they feel like it. That was how it was explained to me. I don't necessarily agree with that rationale, or maybe they just regionally can sell advertising differently for higher numbers. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But it is weird that they're willing to spend $100,000 or $200,000 to get for a show that gets 100,000 or 200,000 people watching.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do a YouTube video, you're lucky to get $5,000 with those numbers.
Exactly.
That's that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So now it's the app is going away at the end of the month. Motor Trend Plus. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah. Yeah. But now my Motor Trend show is on HBO Max, so like my tile with my face is next to Game of Thrones sometimes.
That's
like,
crazy.
What the hell is like?
Yeah. You're like screenshot.
Exactly. It's
That's
weird.
me right next to John Oliver.
Right.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Silly. Yeah, I don't know. Typical TV where they don't tell you we'll see. I don't know. We'll get back to you. We're still trying to figure out all this stuff with the transition, if the season will happen. But it was easy for me because it was something that I could do in 5-6 weeks, and then my life goes back to normal.
Yeah.
As far as the Motor Trend. So Car Trek, we film in a 2-week period, and we'll get 2 treks done in that. So once again, it's hard work, but it's like I wouldn't call it a vacation, but it's just, okay, a break, I get to focus on this and then go back. So I can film ahead on YouTube and go back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very dense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is the I didn't see you. I guess it was 2 years ago at Pebble.
Yeah.
I saw your car and I ran into Freddie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, Tyler brought like the worst 458 you've ever seen. It was like an X rental or something.
It was an X track rental that went in a ditch and impacted in the front and the rear coming out of it. One of those whoopee damages, and put together. I mean, just baling wire. Like, they didn't even want to pay for a cabin air filter, so they have those universal ones you buy at the hardware store cut it and put it in that way. All these things, anything they could do to save a buck. It was hilarious, and it was
crazy.
It was under $100,000, and I sold it for under $100,000, and nothing blew up. It worked great. Yeah. That was the Car Trek
did
where
it track
Freddie
straight, or did it like weave a little
straight.
bit?
We tracked it.
Didn't it have a steel brake swap?
Yes.
Yeah,
where it's...
This is what like the grimiest rental car companies will take, because Ferrari ceramic brakes are really expensive.
You don't say.
I mean, just even by the standards of ceramic brakes,
Oh,
Ferrari ceramic brakes
Right.
are crazy expensive. And so a lot of the rental companies will swap them for steels. And there's a certain rental company in Vegas that was doing this, and they got in a lot of trouble because there was a crash where someone couldn't brake in, I forget what the car was, but someone was killed. And they found out that they swapped the brakes for steel brakes, which don't have the braking performance of ceramics, and it became like a massive, massive problem. I mean, because someone actually died. But it's the kind of thing where if you rent an exotic car from anywhere, if it's supposed to have ceramic brakes and it has steels, it's like, okay, you know.
Yeah, I think they figured out that just by measuring that GTR brakes would fit on the front and WRX on the rear, I think is what it was to make it all.
That's
I know. It worked.
Yeah.
We tracked it at Thunder Hill, I believe is what it was called. And that's where Freddie, like,
Launched his McLaren.
he did not, like, do a warm-up lap in his 675 and got to the top of that hill and just, woo!
Yikes.
Yeah. Freddie does, and he admittedly, he told me about this. He goes, "You want to see a fucking video?" And I was like, "Sure, man." He's like, and I was like, "You don't have a lot of track experience, do you?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "And you have like one of the fastest cars ever made, and are doing Thunderhill without sighting
Which has
it,
some pretty fast corners.
and blind corners.
Yeah.
Thunderhill's got like 3 or 4 totally blind corners."
Thankfully, we had a drone up because he was just going to go warm up. Like, Freddie, let's get all the cameras. No, I'm just going to go warm up. Come on. And we literally, I did the same thing, but at much lower speed in the 458.
Yeah.
And, just went off really easy there. Because
Fortunately, your car was already bent.
Right, but you need to go like 30, 40 max in that turn.
Yeah.
So if you're going 60, then you go off a little bit. Oh, whatever, haha. And Ed and I joked it was on camera. It was real. I was like, let's not tell Freddie about that and see what happens. And it turned out to, it was a bad idea.
Yeah, he fucking launched that thing. That is a track where you need to know where you're going.
Right.
It's not, you don't go hot on your first lap. And come on, first rule of TV, you never do anything without a fucking, at least one.
I know.
Sighting lap, get a camera on there. You never know.
Yep.
You never know what's going to happen. If that fucking motor blows up and you don't have the shot,
Exactly.
woo,
Yeah.
it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Get an extra 30 minutes if you blow that motor.
Freddie is of the three. Well, because I've done enough TV where they're the director and all that. Like, I'll sit and I'll follow directions. And getting those two who don't do much of it and just YouTube, like, okay, I'm gonna go. Like Ed especially. All right, I'm gonna go 230 right on.
Yeah.
Stop. Wait. That's
that's
something they've had to learn a little bit.
I have enough lessons of things where I've had a camera there where I didn't need to, but it caught the thing I needed it to catch. It's a lesson you need to learn. What has your experience like been in like the last couple years of like things that, and this might be a little inside baseball for folks, but like things that work on YouTube versus aren't really working anymore, like things that used to work. Have you been pretty consistent the whole time?
Still the same thing. I started that buying the cheapest in the USA stuff.
That shit still
7-8
flies,
years,
huh?
and people, I'm copied all over for it. Still, the only thing I've changed is longer videos. And just the watch time. It changed from views to watch time, as you guys probably know. So where I used to break it up and be like, okay, here's the car. Here's everything that's wrong with it.
Right.
Here's what I like and don't like. And so I was
Now
just
that's
doing
one
10-minute videos and just more. And now I'm making it into, 1 20, 30-minute video.
Yeah.
And if it's under 15, then usually it suffers.
74 ad breaks.
I need it, but yeah.
That's not your fault or our fault or anyone's fault. If the system incentivizes that, you're going to use the tools that are given to you.
Right.
That's how it fucking works, man.
Like Freddie's P1 videos are 40 minutes to an hour long, which a few years ago you thought, man, that's crazy. Like, who's going to sit through that kind of stuff, especially for YouTube? It's supposed to be bite-sized, but no, that's one of the key ingredients, other than buying a P1 that's been in a flood and crashed through a garage. But his watch time.
I like it though because then you get away from like the TV model was everything's like 3.5 minutes long. You got to keep it moving. The audience will get bored. They'll switch off to something else. But then I feel like it left a lot of questions for the audience, especially with reality stuff, car stuff, where they're going, well, why didn't they drive here? Why didn't they fix it this way? What was wrong with this part? And so with a 40-minute video, people probably don't ask those questions because they get answered in the video.
It was really tough with car issues in Motor Trend because we're doing a mechanical inspection and having to fix things. And, the editors will like, oh, it makes sense if we, the alternator is the reason why the rear main seal's going out or something like that. And you're just like, you can't do it. Like it's like, no.
That sounds like an insurance fraud type of
This
person.
show needs to exist in some kind of reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like a bad lawyer. Like, this thing broke because my client's shoe was untied. Therefore, the brain,
Dude, I can't tell you the number of times I've sat through meetings where they go, we'll just fucking bullshit it. And I go, no, dude, like we're not doing that. I don't want to be a part of that show. That show stinks. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, this car guys for the most part. But yeah, the editors, some of them weren't. And so you had to explain that to them. But it's definitely really tough to get some, because in that show, in this, like what I would devote 3 to 5 episodes to, or 2 hours, say, of total time. Like, we're doing it in 22 minutes of a buy, do something fun with it, inspection, fix, and then at the end, whether I'm going to keep it or flip it in 22 minutes. Like, how? Like,
Are you spending your own money on those cars?
Well, they would pay me that to buy the cars, and then I'd
yeah.
sell them at the end, or I still have a few of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all in the budget for me to just buy the cars and the talent fee, obviously.
Well, that's good. I mean, if they were expecting you to buy your own cars every show, I mean.
Yeah, the first season, it wasn't. They were technically property of the production company, but then I had to sell them at the end. They sort of paid me to sell them, or I got to buy a few from it, and it was just too complicated. They actually hired a producer to buy the cars for me. Like, I would find the Craigslist listing and then say, hey, this one looks pretty good. Maybe we'll check on it. And they hired a producer, and the only car she had ever bought was like her dad went in to lease an Audi. And it didn't work. There was one car where it was advertised, because on Craigslist to optimize it, it was, say St. Louis, but the car is actually in Chicago. And so we traveled to St. Louis, and the car wasn't there. It was in Chicago. So then they oh, crap. So they had to flatbed it, pay $3,000 for a hot shot flatbed to get it there, find somebody to pretend to be the seller because of this kind of stuff. So the rest of the seasons, it was just me doing all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's more streamlined to have someone experienced to fucking do it. Yeah. It's so funny though that this is not in this city.
Because that was the only thing that we sort of had. I wouldn't say fake, because as far as the negotiation and the buy and all that stuff, because it was really happening. But obviously, we're there, it's sort of somewhat predetermined.
Right.
And we'd negotiate, and then there was one time where the car was so much worse than as described, and it was this kind of arrogant college kid that was a swimmer from Europe, and anyway, I was so mad, and I was ready to just walk away, and he negotiated down the car, but then the TV people said, well, we signed a contract with him, so we're going to just have to give him all the money anyway. And I was so mad, because it was an E30 convertible that was supposed to be 80,000 miles. The odometer had probably broke 20 years ago, and it was rough, and but we paid him anyway. So.
No, at least it was their money and not yours,
right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Wow.
I understand, though. The pride makes you want
Exactly.
So we keep rooting for Michael Phelps then.
Yeah.
If that guy shows up in the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That seems like fun, though. I mean, it's as long as it seems like that show is at least set up in a way that's not super frustrating, where you've got to be faking a bunch of stuff.
No.
And you get to choose what cars you want to buy. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
They give you leeway with creative direction.
So I would send them a list of cars. It says 10 episodes. I'd send a list of 15 or 20, and then we'd discuss it, and we'd have 12 or so, because obviously there'd be a time where I couldn't find one for this theme or whatever. So that in the pre-production. So it was all my ideas, and that was the thing. I told them, after 3 seasons, I've got maybe 1 or 2 more in me where I need help with producing ideas. Because I'm starting to run out of ideas.
Yeah. And that's a pretty reasonable request.
But I may not get another season. We don't know.
Yeah.
Everything's in limbo with TV. I think it's the same with pretty much everybody, unless they're doing time buys, which is where people are paying to put their shows on television and getting paid for by sponsors or they getting themselves famous enough to sell merch or promote their business or whatever. So because cable is the money's just so gone.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're targeting the 65 and older crowd with scaring socialism. Start screaming about socialism. You get big money.
Fear about anything. Or Ancient Aliens, which is on season 25.
Oh, right. Ancient Aliens?
Yeah.
Oh. It's you nodded like you've been on a bender for Ancient
No,
Aliens.
I watched 2 episodes of Sarah, and I went, how many seasons? And I went, oh my God.
Right.
How many seasons has Pawn Stars done?
Oh, what, 2008, 9 or something like that?
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's got to be 30.
That's a show that's on the background, and before you know it, you've been clicking on your laptop, and 8 hours have gone by with Pawn Stars in the background.
21 seasons.
Yeah.
Plus, 24 seasons for American Pickers? Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking you go, boys. American Pickers.
Right.
There is a market for digging through people's shit and then making up a price for it. I've ever watched Storage Wars, and they go through a storage unit, and they're like, coffee cup, this is $55. You're like, you just made that up, dude. You're not getting $55.
Well, they had to plant things, obviously, to make it interesting.
Of course.
Is there a kind of TV you want to do? I feel do you feel like you've done the car thing enough different ways, or are there more ways you want to do car content?
Honestly, I love what I'm doing right now. And I think when I initially started YouTube, the thought was, okay, I'll get hired to do TV and maybe some kind of Top Gear type thing.
That's
will
what
call.
I thought too.
And
I was really kidding myself.
Right. Well,
No, you
know,
did. You got hired. You did.
You
did a Speed Channel show.
Right.
Some
live
things.
show.
I
but
watched
then it
you
was
on
like,
on the Adam Carolla one, right?
yeah, but that was like, that taught me I never wanted to do that again.
That's where I first saw you in something. Yeah.
Doing Drive on NBC Sports with Spinelli and Chris Harris and Zach and JF and Morningstar, that was much more fun. But yeah.
But Car Trek, I feel like
That's
is
pretty close to that.
A good homage to Top Gear. It's we get a mid 6-figure budget to do these, and which is great. I mean, we're able to do pretty close to what I think television quality stuff with that.
Yeah.
And really have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, minus like some of the explosions and stuff, but some of those Car Trek films got close to the low end productions of some Top Gears.
Right.
They really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So today's main topic I assigned to Tyler. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was Hoover's top 5 buys.
Okay.
And what was I forget how I worded it in the email. Was it best bang for a Hoover buck? Was that pretty much
so.
what I
It was
said?
something like Hoopties. Yeah.
It was like the best cheap the cheapest cars that worked out the best. I think that was what it was.
Right.
So and you were like, oh, no problem, I can just rattle those off right quick. I was like, all right.
I did put notes on my phone just in case I
Did
blank
you?
out because I'm still starstruck by you sometimes.
What?
So
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I was such a big fan. I am such a big fan of yours still. But like last,
You're way more famous than me now.
No, but in 2017, and I got to do the one takes. So I really just watched the one takes, and I was so excited. And you took me to go eat at the meat place, and then got to do the
meat
podcast.
place?
Like it was all meats.
Ooh,
There's
where did we
something-
go? Was it Maple Block, maybe? Maple Block
That
meat?
sounds right. So
Yeah,
I was
barbecue
so
place?
starstruck the entire time, and on the podcast I rewatched it not that long ago because I feel like you reposted a lot of them, like on the Smoking Tire YouTube channel, like you did that separately.
We made a new podcast channel.
Podcast channel.
Yeah.
And so I rewatched it, like, and so like, it's Matt Farah. Oh my god.
That's
But
strange. But okay.
yeah,
Look, you've got a farm now.
yeah.
You've got a farm.
It's only 5 acres. It's a kind of a joke, but
That's like an apartment in Kansas. 5 acres is like a studio in LA.
I just bought it to be able to build that 60 by 100 big barn structure. Because in Kansas, like all in finished is going to be under 300
Yeah.
for 6,000 square feet. Insulated, heat, air conditioning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
move.
That's awesome. Okay, so 5 great Tyler Hoover buys.
Okay.
Spending the least amount of cash on something you think will suck, but it turns out pretty good.
Right.
Okay.
The low-hanging fruit for me is twin turbo V12 Mercedes. So
Okay.
2003 until I'd say around 2010.
Yeah.
Whether it be a CL65, SL65, most of them had the MSRPs of $200,000
Yeah.
that are now under 20, and they're fairly reasonable to keep going. Just in recent years because of the aftermarket parts and things. So they used to be
Okay.
like $3,000 for
For air
CL65
suspension
brakes.
stuff. Oh yeah.
Nope, I was able to do it for under $1,000 now on the
Oh, okay.
CL65. Are not rebuilding all the air suspension components. Like my Maybach 62 has that. That's a little more hardcore, and there's not much aftermarket support. But that was a almost $500,000 car that I got for $40,000.
Yeah.
62 with the partition.
Yeah.
I just think the driving experience is so good for, and the depreciation just unreal. I think
Yeah.
they've aged really well.
How
Yeah.
many? Go back to that listing, Zach. How many miles were on that one? Did you see? No reserve. 06, 08 CL65. Scroll down.
Yeah,
That's 46,000 miles.
42.
46,000 miles.
Yeah.
That's not bad for a depreciation of 75, 80%.
Right.
Yeah, pretty
And
good.
The little bit older ones are even cheaper.
Yeah.
So like a 2005 is easily under 20 for low miles. Yeah, I think that's there's the ignition coil problem with them as well, where each side, when one fails, it's a whole bank, and it's $2,000 for Mercedes, but there's somebody that rebuilds it now. There's enough of these on the road with people that are just barely keeping them going that
Yeah.
the aftermarket's been really good support on those.
This was a few years ago, but this was 20. 28.
28. Yeah, that one. That's a first gen. That one's an 05.
Yeah, and the CL65s of that year are very rare. I mean, the production on these is in the low hundreds per year. I think like my 2008, I want to say it's 200 or 300 in a year.
Oh, that's low.
And they get even lower as they get later into 10, 11 and such. Yeah.
Those are sleepers. They're fast. Bunch of power. Okay, cool. That's a good one. Yeah. All right. What else you got? Don't you can? It's okay. You can look at your phone.
Is this what Kim.com drove on one of them? He had like the CL3000.
He had a CLK DTM.
Is that the one he called like it was a CLK 3000? He changed the badge on the back basically.
Maybe,
So I'm
but
wondering
he
if that
did have a
was what it was.
CLK DTM, or maybe it was a black series, but it was a CLK.
Yeah. So the next one on my list, and I kind of go back and forth between the C4 ZR1s and but the one that I think is just so undervalued is the Callaway twin turbo C4 Corvettes right now. Because the Callaway Sledgehammer was 254 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And just the legacy of that, he recently passed away.
Yeah.
And these are cars that sell. I mean, it looks so damn cool.
Yeah.
These are still selling for 30 grand.
Yeah.
And I think the legacy of that tuning company and what they were able to achieve with these cars, the ZR1, to a lesser extent, they made a lot more of them, but there's very few Callaway twin turbos out there, and the only ones that really bring money are those half-top crazy ones.
Well, the Speedsters,
Speedsters.
were really rare. I think they did single digits of the Speedsters.
Right.
They did. I mean, they didn't do a lot of the Sledgehammers. I think double digits, maybe 100. I don't know. You ever drive one of these?
Yes.
They're fucking weird. They drive like diesels. They
Right.
rev real low. It's huge torque. Really, really strange. I didn't like driving it that much, but as a collectible, I totally get it.
It's an interesting piece of history that's just it's no money right now. And one that I have is a 95 Camaro Supernatural C8 bike.
See, that's
Callaway.
neat.
And that it was the Road and Track cover car for 95 with the cover. It's red.
How many of those did they make? I've never seen
I
one.
think under 15. It's really low. I mean, it doubled the price of the car. Yes, that's it. Because I bought it at Mecum, the one for the Drive article. That's the car right there. And
these were funny. It has this weird arrow streamliney body kit on it. They're very, very funky. Is our internet going real slow right now?
It is. Yeah, I want to open the drive.
Weird.
But it's over 400 horsepower out of an LT1.
Oh shit!
What happened?
Communication.
Oh, has our internet gone down?
Yeah.
Okay, but we're still recording. Yeah.
Continue recording. We're still recording.
Okay. Well, hopefully it comes back.
Does it duck back in when the internet
We
comes
very, very rarely have internet issues here because I have like business class fiber optic internet.
And this studio has its own router.
Yeah, so it's.
Ruh-roh.
That's
Well, it must have just
really
happened because it was
bizarre.
working.
Say what?
I said that's really bizarre.
Yeah.
I'm just out in the country in Kansas, so after fighting all kinds of weird things, we got Starlink.
Oh, did you? Does it work good?
It works pretty well, yeah.
Chris Harris, when he was living in Wales, used to have to drive 40 minutes into town to upload videos.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, what are you doing? This is what a fucking waste of time. I was like, you're important.
He
What
goes
is
to the
this?
internet cafe and
Yeah,
sits
it was
just wastes.
crazy. To a fucking Starbucks in Bristol, uploading
That's
gigabytes
hilarious.
of film. It's so strange. But we're still recording, so okay.
Yep.
Well, the internet will come back when it comes back. When it,
All right.
when it fucking feels like it. When it feels like it. Okay, so Callaway Corvette. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. And I guess probably the Supernatural is in there because you got it pretty cheap.
I think
right?
any Callaway product, because that was about 30 with fees as well.
Yeah.
So for a cover car
for
with
a
that,
super rare car. Yeah. Does it drive good?
Yes. Well, so it has that weird opti spark with the LT1, so it was
Yeah.
running a little weird when we got it. Tried to put an aftermarket one in, and it was even worse. Like even worse. So it was new old stock somebody had, and it's like the headline is tired of fighting with opti spark problems. And it was just new old stock and runs perfect. The powers. It feels like C5, C6, Z06 somewhere in between there as far as acceleration.
That's pretty cool.
And handling's still like a normal Camaro. But,
yeah. It's a neat car, though. Neat bit of history. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's a good one.
So my next one, I was having trouble with narrowing it down on flappy paddle cars.
Okay.
And like the one that I had that really surprised me was a 2005 Maserati Grand Sport. So that coupe body style.
Yeah.
But then towards the end of the line, I bought one as a joke for the show because it's depreciated, in the teens or whatever. And somebody had updated the transmission. Somebody had made a tune for it to where it was actually almost 430 like in the F1,
Really?
which got pretty good for an F1 shifter car. And the
Grand Sport was already the updated one because there was the coupe.
It's the coupe, and it's still that old coupe body that came out around 2000.
Yeah.
But by the end, they were trying to sell them. They were calling them Grand Sports.
Yeah, they had better wheels and like
Yes.
some updated shock tuning and stuff.
Yes, but as far as dirt cheap, something exotic that people go, wow, look at that.
Yeah, they sounded good.
They sound great.
Yeah.
They improved the performance, and then the F1 system got bearable in that car. I was very surprised.
They made a manual of that.
They did.
In Europe.
They sold some in the U.S.
Did they
too.
have a manual?
Freddie had one for a car trek that he bought for $5,000.
Really? Yeah. That might be kind of interesting. I wonder if it drove good. I talked to Freddie about
It was
that.
it was a mess.
Well, like if it worked, maybe, but like I wonder if that's a car that's like worth saving with a manual swap. Maybe it is. I don't know.
There were enough out there, but yeah, I'm not sure. They're so cheap that there's no
Yeah.
way you would do it because it's kind of like I felt like the Vanquish is sort of one, even though it has one of the worst F1s or transmissions ever. You had yours converted.
I did. I was one of the first people to do it. Yeah.
It's still a Bond car for $40,000, and it does feel special.
And you know what? It's great with a manual.
Yeah.
It's so awesome with a manual.
But I still have one with the terrible F1. And yeah, I'm in Kansas, so I don't have to do LA traffic and things.
Yeah.
And it's an experience. It feels special. You get an Advantage, you get in a DB9, and it doesn't have the cool feeling of this because it's much more of a hand-built special car
well,
than
the Vanquish
those.
is gorgeous.
Yes.
It's gorgeous and it's deceptively small. It's the size of it's only a little bit bigger than a Vantage, but it's got the V12.
Right.
It is a very interesting driving experience. And from 100 to 150, it's real fast. And if you shift above 5,000 RPM, it shifts reasonably quickly. But the manual swap does make a big difference. And if you plan on keeping yours for a long time, I would consider it.
I've emailed them about it and trying it. Maybe someday, but I get it. I just enjoy it. Like I said, in Kansas, it's all flat roads. There's no traffic. There's nothing to really, oh, this is annoying. So it's actually reasonably fun when you hit the sport button and go. I get if
It's
it was
a neat car.
Yeah.
I think time will prevail on those. So I got Cambio Accord. That's 4. All right. What last one on the list?
Okay. Well, probably going to get controversial here, but I love them so much. GMT 800 Escalades. H2s, just every.
Why?
So my daily driver to go get the kids to go to school, 2005 Escalade,
And it's real Tony Soprano shit.
Well, if you think about it, go back 20 years. Every episode of Cribs, everybody showing off. Everybody wanted a Cadillac Escalade, from the professional dads to rappers to everybody. Same with the H2s. And I feel like it's going to be like the Grand Wagoneers, like some of these early SUVs that are really taking off. Like when you're able to find a clean one. And it's already starting to happen with the Escalade EXTs, the Avalanche version of it. I think one just set a record on bringing a trailer for almost $50,000.
What? They're going up?
With 8,000 to 10,000 miles on it.
Those are like a collector grade one. Yeah, okay.
Right, but when the supply continues to go, because I bought a Grand Wagoneer. My very first one was 80,000 miles for $4,500 in 2008.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted it, and it's sort of the same thing right now with these Escalades that old people are trading in, and I do feel like at least the driving experience is so comfortable, has air ride, the seats still have the deep foam, the 6-liter Vortec is invincible, it has just enough tech to where you don't feel like you're missing out, but then the newer stuff is just too complicated and crazy. The engines now have cylinder deactivation that goes bad with dropping lifters and the electronics and stuff. It's a pain in the ass to own.
Interesting thought, yeah.
And I feel like, oh my God, this guy had the Escalade, or my dad had an Escalade growing up. I feel like, and same with the Hummer H2s, as ridiculous as they were, but they're still pretty valuable.
Hummer H2s have a floor, like a real floor that's like higher than you might think. Like anything decent Hummer H2 is still like $40,000.
Right. There's. I mean, I was able to buy one for $6,500 that almost killed me when a brake line
Yeah, but
rusted.
it's probably like just a garbage one. Though,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But there's those have already sort of become that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a Z71 Tahoes and that
I like,
same body
you know what
style.
I like is the 2-doors. The 2-door Tahoes.
Yes.
Which like the 98, whatever the last couple of years of those were, where they went to the small airbag steering wheel.
But those are already 50 plus
Yeah, they're
grand for
impossible
low
to find. Impossible to find.
Yeah.
And like I knew it was going to be. I saw this one coming. My dad's lawyer has a house on Martha's Vineyard, and he bought one of those new 2-door Tahoe, and he put 100,000 miles on it. He sent it to a shop and did a full nut and bolt restoration of it and spent $100,000 restoring this car perfectly just because that's the car he wanted. And I was like, these are going to be the thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't get anything like that anymore.
Well, I just feel like the soft, comfy seats. Because even now, thanks to auto journalists like you, they want to make an SUV that handles really well, that can track and all this stuff. Like,
Don't fucking.
I know, but like,
Autojournalists like
this thing
me.
just kind of, in the corners, it kind of just
I
rolls
just
around.
shat
and,
on the Escalade V so badly. I crap on all these fast SUVs. I think they're stupid.
Right, but people are, for whatever reason, when they review it, and they're like, oh, the seats really don't hold me in on the corners. And yeah, it's like these are built to be really comfy cruisers, and they don't do the supportive, full foam seats anymore. The rides, because now they're on 22s or more, no matter what. Even with the mag ride, there's a lot rougher ride.
Yeah.
The experience isn't...
6,000-pound car on 23s is not optimal.
So like the car that preceded it, where everybody traded in their Buick Roadmaster estate wagons to buy an Escalade.
Yeah.
Those were 15 years ago. I bought one of those really cheap. Now those are getting to be collectibles, and I feel like this is the next coming. This last of these kind of old school sort of luxury experience, and even though it's the first generation of SUVs, and with the resto mod and all the crazy stuff happening, where Barrett Jackson, the one that rang the bell, the K5 Blazers that are custom, the custom Broncos and things, like people are going an SUV sort of mindset when it comes to like, oh, this is a collector car I could
Well,
own.
I think as it shows in the new market, people are tired of driving teardrop-shaped crossovers, and they want their SUVs to look like trucks and feel a little more like trucks again.
Yes.
Which the new Bronco, the new Lexus GX, and the new Land Cruiser, and even like
Dude, even the RAV4 that Sarah bought.
Yeah.
When you look at the last gen, it is very egg boring.
Yeah.
It looks like a lifted minivan, and the new one
it's like more
looks
squared off.
very angular, very Grand Cherokee silhouette.
Yeah.
Figure out how to make it sort of look like, because it was sort of understyled as the CTS-V, that first generation, with the performance and things.
Well, the Escalade V doesn't look any different at all. It's just got a badge on the back of it. The rest of it's exactly the same. Escalade V is dumb as fuck. Are we streams? That when Zach's eyes look like that, it's not always good.
Uh-oh.
It's saying live, and then it takes a second for it to
then it goes
for it to appear. Yeah,
you're gonna have some assembly to do later, I guess.
a little bit. That's okay. Is it still black?
Huh?
The live screen is still black, even though the broadcast screen on the iPad.
That's
just after I tell you, like, this thing's so nice and it works so great and blah, 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 and here we are.
It does work when you have internet.
That's true.
Without internet,
there we go.
things don't work so good.
Now
okay.
we have faces. Great.
All right, cool.
I'm used to breaking things. That's
In general, this system is quite dependable.
until I show up. Yeah.
I mean, your your energy just makes things break. Before we get to the Patreon, what made you decide to Turo a Ferrari California for your trip to Los Angeles?
So I wanted to do kind of a on-the-move sort of Good Morning YouTube, some kind of car review, and was just looking on Turo. And our original selection was a pink Mitsubishi Mirage.
Oh, that would have been epic.
I know. It would have been wonderful.
$28 a day or something.
The cheapest car on there, the cheapest new car in America. And last minute, the guy said, oh, we don't have any staff to deliver it to the airport. You need to take an Uber. It was a 30-plus minute Uber ride to get the car after we were getting in late in San Diego last night to the airport. I had to drive up here.
Oh, wow.
I was just like, I just can't do it. So I was like, what else could we... Because I know April hates the California. I was like... And it was $160 a day.
Yeah,
and,
$160 a day for a Ferrari California is really, it's not bad.
That's minivan prices.
Even if the California sucks, A great California kind of sucks, but like
But
160
still.
a day for a Ferrari is pretty solid.
Well, I showed up thinking, oh, this guy will probably know. He's from San Diego. He'll know cars and bids and duck. No idea. The only reason he bought the Ferrari, and he's just researched, a very analytical guy. He's like, this one works for Turo for this money. The business model works for this and that. And I have an R8 and I have a Boxster, and I put these on the rental fleet. I bought this certified pre-owned from Ferrari, which sounded insane.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I don't think it'll depreciate very much if I keep it for 10 months, only put this amount of miles on it, and then sell it. And I don't know how I wouldn't do it. But yeah, it's already messed. Like the top seal, we're going 70 miles an hour at night, and the top seal is howling. It's quieter with the top down, and it has a really rough idle but no check engine light.
Maybe the motor mounts are
Probably.
fucked. Yeah, yeah. That's hilarious.
Because it's 2011. It's almost 13 years old now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Those cars. Even when we had one when I worked at Gotham when they were brand new, and I was like, this is not a good representation of what
not.
this brand is bought.
No, the Portofino was a lot better.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
it's not my
Well,
favorite.
I'm coming
Ferrari.
from a 599, which is, and I had the gated manual conversion done to
Oh
it.
yeah.
And so it's,
that's
it's
probably a good time.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's gotta
and
be a
of course,
good
the
time.
startup noise from that compared to the V8 that's not very muffled, and
Yeah.
it doesn't even feel like Diet Ferrari in comparison. Yeah.
599 is the one I would want to convert to a manual. That's a good car. They're
Yeah.
comfortable and spacious. They sound great, and the F1s are cheap.
Yeah, very cheap. So that could be one for the list because around 100 to 130 gets you, depending on bad to nice.
Yeah.
It's not a very big swing between a bad and nice
Yeah.
599. And you get an Enzo V12 in the
Yeah.
front. It's really cool styling, I think, with the C-pillar,
Yeah.
the buttress like the new Ford GTs that kind of pass through.
Mm-hmm.
And the gated conversion was neat. There's been a lot of controversy with that. I don't know if you've noticed with the AG and things. But,
Oh yeah. Well, he was keeping every's money and spending it on himself.
I don't know.
No, he was. He
It
definitely
seems
was.
like it was a tough deal with the investors doing that asset seizure in the
Yeah.
middle of the night, hiring a couple employees and clearing out everything.
Yeah.
So does that mean 599s are done, or will somebody else pop up and
No, the
continue with it?
Dr. S will. They'll make a kit for it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. That company. Look, I did a big investigative piece about them, and it didn't turn up good things.
Right.
I know people got cars. I know some people got cars, particularly if you were an influencer.
I will say 'cause they were great to me, and I think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were out to
Well,
prove something because
they
they did it
were.
in 24 hours. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
this is viable. We can do this.
Yeah.
The car had to go back twice for some follow-up things because they did it quickly, and,
Yeah.
and they'd updated a few things.
And
But-
it's not that what they were doing wasn't possible.
The product
it
was great.
Yeah,
But-
it was not managed well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a fine line between poorly run and criminal. You need to prove intent, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily alleging anything, but a lot of cars didn't get done, and a lot of money ended up where it shouldn't have, and people lost things here
Right.
and there, and so.
But it's a tale as old as time. People they want the instant success, and they want to show that be a big business, and they're not necessarily. I don't know. I mean, there's the snowball effect of I mean, there's plenty of movies about it and things. Whether that was the intention or not, I don't know. But
Yeah, it's a good idea, and it's technically possible.
Yes.
Some cars did get converted, but it did not. It was not
I think
great.
it's around 3599s last
Yeah.
I checked, and then there's several hundred 360s and 430s.
Yeah,
so.
but it's there are other kits you can buy. This Dr. S kit I've seen seems to be pretty good.
Yes.
and I'm sure they will do a 599 kit as well. I mean, it's technically possible.
It sucks because they were starting to work on Mercy conversions,
Yeah.
which I think would be an epic one to do, especially considering the value delta now between the two.
Yeah, it's
of
like
Murcielagos.
double, if
Maybe
not
triple.
more. If not more,
Yeah.
on an LP it might be triple. Yeah. That Mercy sticks are great. They are a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to some Patreon questions. We've got a bunch from the Patreon. Of course, if you want to ask questions of our guests, if you want to watch the live stream, assuming the internet works at our fucking studio. And if you want to get the show early, get exclusive merch drops, which, by the way, our new merch line is available right now exclusively to patrons until... Oh, is this going to go up Thursday?
Yes.
Oh, there's new merch line available to everybody starting Wednesday. So it'll be the patrons got it until yesterday, and everyone else will get it now. Hit the link in the video or podcast description to get that. Let's see. I have not pre-screened these, so we're going to get through as many as we can. Christian says, have you heard of the Mercedes S600 Royale?
The Royale with cheese?
It's the one of one. It was in Beverly Hills. Zach, do you know what the S600 Royale is? Do you have a photo of it?
I know only because I have a photo of it.
It is. Holy
oh my
God.
SLS headlights.
It's got SLS headlights. It's got an
Mercedes grill.
old grill. It is
no.
not good looking.
Oh, no.
Is there more photos of it, or is that it?
Oh,
Fuck me, is that
no.
awful.
The further you go down.
No,
It
thank
looks like
you.
they tried to turn it into like a grocer, right? Like a
Yeah.
Pullman grocer
It's a
kind of thing.
retro mod.
But it's gone very badly.
Oh, dear.
You know, this from the side profile,
Wrong,
that's
Matt.
it's
Wrong.
best.
No,
I
it's
don't-
well.
That's
But now,
best.
I see the taillights, which really don't match.
Right? That's like
Like,
a
these look-
S-Class coupe or
Yeah, which
CL,
look like they're from a totally different era than here.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. That's so yeah, a lot of different decades going on
It's got
here.
like a Jeep
Yeah, it's-
Wagoneer kind of canopy.
It's really weird.
right.
You know what it reminds me of? The presidential limo.
Yeah.
You know, where they build it on a
beast.
truck frame and
they
the
tell you it's an
propor-
Escalade,
and the
but-
proportions are kind of weird. Like in that
Yeah.
side photo, if there wasn't a parking meter there for scale,
It even has 300 SL style gills
Yeah,
with the twin
yeah.
thing. It's got
Really,
everything.
really strange.
Are they fake knockoff wheels?
And no sidewall, so it's got to be
Yeah.
very comfortable. around
way
LA.
overstyled. It's gone badly. It's
no.
gone very badly.
That is so odd.
Yeah, it's,
I'd own it, but yeah.
it's probably like YouTube
Here's the
gold.
question:
but
would you own it if you couldn't film it and put it on YouTube?
No, of course
There
not.
we go.
But it even has the hood louvers like a Aston Martin or something. What is
that's
going on?
crazy.
But wait,
yeah.
only on one side? Is that?
No, they're on
Oh,
both. It's just a weird picture.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, the louvers. That's not good. If they took off the louvers, if they took off the SLS gills, and if they used a different headlight, maybe. But like, nah. Okay, wait. So there's a lot of words here. Okay.
Basically, it's if the Cybertruck looked like a normal pickup truck, would there be as much hate for it?
Oh.
It could still have the hardware issues and concerns, but would it be if it didn't look like a Star Trek? This is Justin's
yeah.
question. If it didn't look like a Star Trek shuttlecraft, would people be as upset?
No. I mean, if they just built like a regular fucking pickup truck and it looked kind of like a Rivian or something,
Right.
Like, no, that would be better. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, like a Ford Maverick and a really cheap one. I feel like there's a need for that. They can't sell. They can't build enough Mavericks to keep up.
Yeah.
And that's a great truck. But yeah, I personally love the Cybertruck look. I was the day one, deposit. I've done the build. It's supposed to be January to March, and I still don't have a VIN yet. And I'm just getting to the point where I'm just like, okay, I don't want it anymore. After all the hype and things, but I hadn't seen one in person until
Yeah.
flying into here. I know that sounds probably commonplace for you to see it everywhere, but I haven't seen one. So
once you see them all the time and it's no longer a novelty, it looks really dumb. I mean, it's one thing if you view it as an exotic car that you only see every once in a while, but once you start seeing 2, 3, 4 of them a day, you go, that just looks fucking stupid.
I like it. I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I'm also an idiot, so it's perfect for me. Yeah.
You could buy a used one. People are starting to sell them. So.
I've spent $200,000 or 100. Well, it's funny because there was in a span of 2 weeks, like the first brave person to sell their Cybertruck got to 44,500, and like, oh, we can sell it now. The floodgates have opened
Yeah,
to
and
where
then
now
instant
it's
market crash.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, look, I never had a problem with Tesla building a pickup truck. I still don't trust the steer-by-wire system, and I think my concerns are justified.
Oh yes, now I remember that podcast. Okay,
Yeah, I don't. But I think there's a lot of downsides that are in service of that design.
Yeah.
So
you guys took your spanking very well from Jason. Yes.
well, I shouldn't have made that about Jason. I could have said everything I had to say without making it about Jason.
It was a great podcast, a great discussion. I loved the episode.
Yeah.
It was a very real. I really enjoyed it. The conversation, the back and forth. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I maintained some of the things I said, and now that I've driven it, I believe them even more. So it's not driving. It wasn't like, oh, I was definitely wrong.
Yeah,
about
there were
that
new
issue.
issues we discovered driving it, but then
Yeah.
like the steer-by-wire was actually we both got used to it very quickly. That was fine. That wasn't really an issue. But there were other things, build quality and operational stuff and rear view visibility that I was like, this is really bad.
yeah.
Like Mercedes brake-by-wire at the SBC that they abandoned in 2007. It's probably going to happen here. I would imagine there'll be some issues to where like, oh shit, and we'll have to go back or maybe not.
But
Who knows?
the one that we drove, which belongs to Kyle Connor, was built so badly. It was really, really, really shockingly bad. And
that sounds exciting.
that does sound
For a
exciting.
YouTuber,
Sounds
like,
perfectly.
yes.
Well, that's what he's doing with
Right.
it, so I don't blame him. Ryan says, what cars made in this century are fun to drive all of the time?
All the time?
McLaren 750S.
You think so? Like
Yes.
all the time for like, because I feel like something a little more analog would be more fun to drive all the time. Because when you get into a car like that, you just want to hit auto mode and just kind of cruise. I feel like some of the last analog cars, something with a gated manual.
But the click of their paddles is so perfect
Yeah.
that I can be kind of
But
lazy,
all of the
but feel
time
engaged.
includes horrible traffic jams where, so like, I
all the
like the
time.
flexibility when I want to go manual mode, turn the knobs to kill, and go, versus if I'm stuck in traffic,
Right.
the McLaren is great for both.
Then
I
is
live
the
in a-
answer 296 because in traffic you can go electric.
No, because if I have to change the radio station in a 296, I want to jump out the fucking window.
Oh,
I live in a different world as compared to California. So like I don't have to deal with this. Just the 20 minutes to go 8 miles. What is this? Like
Yeah.
like I feel like you guys are crazy to live here. But
It's a world
yeah.
of, well, have you been up the mountain?
Yeah, I've been in Angeles Crest.
So, I
and all
mean,
that
we
stuff.
have that too.
Yes.
So it's a 2-car solution, right? You've got to have your traffic car, and then you have your mountain car, and so I realize not everybody can do that, but like that is the world that we live in, So we got to have the traffic in order to have the mountain, and the access to the cars. I mean, like 911s and Boxers and Caymans. I mean,
Right.
they're pretty fun all the time. I mean, that's there's nothing wrong with one of those.
Right.
I think
But-
Mini Coopers, like the good supercharged one, that's a pretty fun car all the time.
06 John Cooper Works. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty fun. Danny Rodiker says, which OEM had the best enthusiast lineup from each decade? So I guess that would be 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. Mm-hmm. Okay, so best enthusiast lineup in the 90s.
At one point, it was a couple of years ago to celebrate the 20th anniversary of BMW's 2001 model lineup, which I think
Right.
was the best lineup of all time. Of 357 and the X5 and the
Yeah.
Z8. And
Yeah.
that was their total lineup.
Yeah.
And all beautiful cars, great performance, great engines. Even the X5, it was pretty.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was the greatest.
That's pretty good.
It was the BMW Dream Team, I called it.
That's pretty good. Okay. I would say for the 2010s, Porsche. I mean, you've got the 997.
Yes.
You've got the 6-cylinder Boxster and Cayman. You've got a second gen Cayenne.
Right.
You've
It's still
got-
very off-roady,
you've
but
got-
still great performance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got a lot. I mean, really, really well-made, excellent cars that weren't overloaded with tech. Still manual transmissions and everything, for sure. 90s. I mean, Mercedes really had a lot going on in the 90s, didn't
Yeah.
they? Right? Maybe not in terms of fun, but in terms of like quality.
Right. That Bruno
Chevy-
Sacco
Chevy
lineup
maybe?
with conformity was pretty
Yeah.
unbeatable back then. Yeah.
Japan, possibly even Nissan.
Oh shit!
I mean, if you go Nissan, you've got GTR.
Nissan
or
had a lot
240.
going on.
Yeah, or NSX. Got a lot of fun stuff.
Oh, in the
Yeah.
maybe Acura
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah, but they.
Or no, I would
They
say
had one fun thing.
Acura maybe.
Oh, yeah,
no,
so
they had
NSX
dude.
something,
They had
okay.
they had the in 2001. You could have got an NSX, an Integra Type R,
Right.
a TL Type S, a CL Type S, and a first gen MDX. That's
Yep.
pretty good.
Yeah, the MDX
That's
was
pretty
great.
enthusiastic across the board. Kind of into that.
Pretty good. TL and CL are very similar. They're very good cars.
The
though.
CL was the best handling front wheel drive car that Car and Driver ever tested when it came out. The CL Type S.
It was better than the Integra Type S. Or Type R?
Objectively, road holding, yes, it was. It wasn't as fun, but it did measure high.
That had to be like a tire selection situation.
In the slalom.
Slalom?
Highest slalom, yeah.
I just remember from my dealer days, and every one of them had a grenaded transmission, automatics, of course.
The
Hondas,
automatics,
yeah.
dude. I tried to get when I graduated college. I tried to get out of college a CL Type S with a manual. Couldn't get it. They wanted it was like an 8-month waiting list. I ended up in an Audi S4.
If you lump
Actually,
OEM
Audi
and
was
Honda
doing pretty
together,
good. We had the B5 S4, the All Road, that S8 with the 4.2.
Yes.
A pretty good run for Audi, actually. Yeah. I don't know. A lot going on there. Great mate. What moment, purchase, milestone let you know that you had made it on YouTube? What was your reaction and what were your next steps?
And then Danny continued with the Countach ownership, asking us for that because I feel like the Countach was the one.
Buying a Countach.
That was it, and just it came about from my mechanic working on that Diablo, and that's how the guy called my mechanic, said, "Do you know anybody that want a Diablo and a Countach?" And just being able to go and do that, and $250,000. I shook myself upside down to be able to write that check. I just cleaned myself out, which is something even a year before would not have been possible. So it just seemed that felt like I made it moment for sure.
My Countach was pretty much all the money I had. Like when I bought it, and I didn't get 2 cars for $250. I got 1, but still, that Countach I got to review it 5 years before then.
Really?
And it was 5 years later that the owner said, "Hey, I'm looking to sell this. Do you know anybody who wants it?" And my friend Carl Ruiz was at my house. Rest in peace, Carl. And he said, "Cuz, if you don't buy that car right now, I'm going to throw you off this rooftop." And he was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, a year or two before, I got to drive one that was a low roof copper one that was a Monaco Grand Prix pace car.
Oh, cool.
And it was awesome. And I thought, man, I'm going to miss the boat on these. Because if I can't scrape together and get one here in the next year or two, it's just going to fly away. And I got so lucky, incredibly lucky.
Yeah. Mine seemed like all the money at the time, and now it's like, ha ha ha. Aiden Squires, what states do you avoid buying cars from? Florida.
Florida, New Jersey, because everybody moves from New Jersey to Florida. So yeah, those are the two, I would say. Yeah, most definitely.
You don't want a car that spent its life going up and down the New Jersey Turnpike.
Right.
That's a recipe for blown shocks and bent rims.
do they salt the roads in Jersey?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So bad
But
roads
the
and
similar
salt.
unscrupulous people selling cars, they go back and forth from Jersey to Florida.
Right.
So the honesty is not there.
Yeah. Bobby says, what is the ultimate American luxury barge?
That's tough.
No, I think you hit it before with Escalade.
I think the Escalade is about there.
It's like a lifted limousine.
Yeah. I mean, I love the end of the line Roadmasters. I love the 66 Imperial that I had. That's the first year of the 440 V8. And the build quality is just unreal on those, where most of them have original interiors because they actually coated it with sperm whale oil. Not whale sperm, but sperm whale oil, and whatever that did. The leather doesn't age. Most of them have original paint. They're invincible.
The owners all got skin cancer, but whatever.
Right, yeah, that's a great car.
Okay,
really cheap. But yeah, I think the Escalade's definitely
okay.
up there.
Michael Cosgrove says, "What cheapest in the country cars would you like to see Hoovy tackle?" Dodge Omni GLHS.
There you go. Some
ever drive
Shelby
one of
stuff.
those?
No, I haven't.
Shelby Chrysler product is where we need to be. Maybe a Shelby Dakota
There you go.
You ever see the Shelby Dakota?
I have seen
convertible?
some convertibles, yes.
There's a guy in my neighborhood who's got one.
Whoa.
It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's trashed. It's not a good one. You don't want this one. But yeah, the Shelby Dakota convertible is real weird. Or a Shelby Durango. Mm-hmm. Very underappreciated.
I did get an email from someone 20 miles away from me that had one that wanted to sell it to me, a Shelby Durango.
That's a Kansas car. That's a perfect Kansas car for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I like the Celine Explorers a little better, I think.
In the bad, maybe for the next season of TV, Celine Explorer versus Shelby Durango.
Yeah.
I think, well, the Explorer would have to have the supercharger, which was optional. Body kit standard, wheels standard, supercharger was optional.
Yeah.
We had one here for a second.
Really?
Yeah, a white one.
That'd be a very short track test because both would just roll immediately.
Look at that.
Yeah.
They were like, all right, how are we gonna do this? Like just the same shit you did to the Mustang. Just do that.
It should not look that good, but
No.
it does.
Shouldn't. Why does it not look stupid?
I know.
It's supposed to look
It's a
stupid.
great looking sport truck.
Yeah.
The rockers
That's
are good.
all right.
The fascia's nice. Yeah.
What did this one sold for? 22 grand.
Yeah, this was one of Doug's friends. So the last time I visited, he drove that up to meet us for dinner. And
That one's like pretty nice.
maybe
too.
a different one because it's a Montana one. There's
perfect
another white
spoiler.
one just like it that's sold.
This one looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The tow package and everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a great look at the meatiness of those. Like the rims aren't too big. It's got some nice
Perfect.
meat on the tires. That's a great ratio of wheel to tire. You know? Fuck, I'd want one of those. Those are great. They're probably terrible, but that one looks cool as shit.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Where are we going here? Zach says, opinion from Matt, Zach, and Tyler on my 95 Cadillac Eldorado with tan exterior, plum purple interior, heated seats, and an aux cable.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fucking Paulie Walnuts mobile right there.
Yeah, of course, the North Star is famous for their head gasket failures
Yeah.
in 95. That's in the thick of it. So one that's still on the road, that's a dang near miracle.
Yeah.
So I have a 99 Eldorado.
Oh, you do?
It's a custom that was in the GM museum. It was one of their concept cars that they had a outfit out here in California do a treatment to, and it's a really cool custom that's been chopped and channeled.
Oh, wow.
And all this, and it sold for like $10,000.
Was that when they unloaded like a whole bunch of their
Yes.
heritage stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're their bankruptcy, they had to get rid of anything of value. So this
Yeah.
thing was never supposed to be sold to the public. The thing about it is it's certificate of destruction. So
You can't drive it?
I have a dealer's license.
Oh, yeah.
so,
whatever. Yeah.
Anyway.
Wait, was it this thing?
That's
Is it that?
There it
Dude.
is.
Oh, dude, that's like a Demolition Man movie prop.
Exactly.
That's fucking great.
Yes.
Is it that color still?
It's that color still.
Oh, dude, that's fantastic. How does it drive? Like an
It's
Eldorado?
Like an Eldorado. It's just exactly the same. But yeah, the
That's rock.
it has door poppers.
Dude, for
everything's
10 G's, if I knew about that, I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
For 10. That's great. Does the chopped front wheel arch impact your turning?
Not at all.
Okay, cool.
No, not in the slightest. But yeah, the headlights aren't very good at night, but it does look really neat. And they actually molded it all to where it's one piece going from the fender all the way to the grill. So
Wow.
you wouldn't want to bop it in the corner.
No.
And then the rear, they called it the Eldorado, R-O-D in capital letters, and the rear treatment. So I guess that's just one photo there from Barrett Jackson 2009. But yeah, unloaded. Each time it sold for cheaper, and I bought it flat tires, nothing working on it, and so getting the poppers going, getting it because it was never driven really.
Yeah.
So I've got it to where it's drivable, and it's actually pretty cool. You have to definitely gangster lean because of the chopped roof because it's totally stock inside.
Yeah,
but yeah.
That's fucking rad. That's the coolest front wheel drive Eldorado ever. But yeah, shout out to Paulie Walnuts.
Yes.
Driving
Congrats
that
for
in the
keeping that on the
Sopran-
road.
in the
That's
Sopranos.
not easy.
Too soon, Junior says Ferrari 458 prices are on the rise, and a 458 or an F12 could be had for similar money. Which would you prefer to own, and which will appreciate more over the next 10 years? Is there another Ferrari you'd rather have for less than $300,000?
I did the 599 and
Yeah.
gated converted it.
A 599 with a manual, I would rather have for the same money.
Yeah.
458s are great. I mean, a good 458 is a good thing. You could use it every day if you wanted. I mean, they are pretty reliable.
I don't see 300 grand in 10 years unless inflation's insane.
Yeah,
but,
I don't see 300 grand either. I'd rather a 430 converted to a stick or a 599 converted to a stick.
Yeah, because the F12 is another one where it's going to be topped, and the replacement's going to get cheap. And the name escapes me of what they call this. A12.
A12s, yeah.
Super fast.
A12s are fucking rad.
They're awesome,
Yeah.
but
So are
nuts.
F12s.
they will depreciate.
Yeah.
and then that will bring down the F12 because it's such a huge leap.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather for $300K.
That gets you a lot of car.
It gets you a ton of car. I'd spend $150 on a fantastic 355 and pocket the rest to keep it going. 355s, if you can afford them, are just a delight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had 2 of those. The 348, I think is pretty underappreciated.
I agree.
I like the steering,
Particularly 94s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because the steering's really over-assisted in the 355.
It's got that 90s over-boosted thing.
So the 348, I love the steering, the handling feel of it. And the Testarossa, it's so damn heavy. But we go into the baby Testarossa, and I like the side strakes and the feel of it.
A 94 348 is most of the way to a 345, but they're cheaper to run, and you have manual steering.
Yes.
And that is a delight. We have one downstairs. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. But if you got 300, $150 gets you a great 355 or a great Testarossa, actually.
Yeah, I like the Testarossa, but it is tough to parking lot maneuver that thing.
Yeah.
And the cold warm-up of that gearbox is kind of annoying. Every time, okay, 20 minutes later, I can finally shift this
My
thing.
328 has the no second gear for the first 3 miles, and that's normal. But Testarossas are built really, really well. They're the quality of that is a really high quality.
Well, there's still you can't clutch drop them because of that weird diff thing. I think.
Yeah.
But
just the build quality of them is very high. Paul, okay, one for you. Paul says Cadillac's new Celestique is an alleged return to sumptuous American luxury. As a fan of the golden era of these cars, do you see that, the Celestique, as a departure from the ethos of land yachting? This is that $300,000 hatchback thing they've designed. Have you seen it?
I've seen a picture of it, but
it's very weird looking.
I have such a blind spot for new cars, and I feel like I'm becoming an old man because as far as after 2009-ish, like when I was still working at the Cadillac dealers and things like,
I'm quite sure I saw one of these on the road, and it looked really weird from rear three-quarter.
my first impression is not like, I'm not thrilled.
This is not.
It is a strange-looking car.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a speed tail kind of looking 59 Cadillac trying spin. I don't. Okay, all right, and I assume it's electric.
It is electric.
Because they're saying they're going to go all electric.
Yes.
Doesn't do it for me.
It doesn't really do it for me either. I will reserve judgment until I drive one, but the styling, the rear overhang is crazy.
Right. Well, they tried again with the Lincoln Continental, and I thought that was executed pretty well, especially when they did the suicide doors a bit at the end.
The coach door one, that should have just been the car. I don't know. If they could do it, they should have just done it. Like that they missed their Chrysler 300 moment with that car.
Right. It's like there's a little Citroën here, which is not bad, but there's the variety of materials in this back quarter make it look really weird and busy.
Yeah,
I think
there's
that's
a lot
that's
going
the other
on
reason
there.
it kind of falls apart for me. And there's just like there's a light and then a blue thing, but a black thing, and then there's like the trim line, and there's so much going on.
Nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah, for $300,000
No.
plus. Good luck. All right, one more, and then we are going to call the game. Okay. Oh, here we go. Tom, this is a good one. Tom says, now that Matt and Hoovy have purchased their childhood bedroom poster cars, what is the next move, if there is one? And what would Zach's bedroom poster car be, if not the E46 M3?
I've talked about the 550 Ferrari enough. So what's your guys' next car?
I'm done. Tapped
Yeah,
out.
right.
Tapped out.
Really?
No, I mean, for now, yeah. For now, I have more cars than I can
Check
drive.
back in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the second coming of the Ford GT, the 05, 06.
Oh yeah.
Best.
And I loved the driving experience. I missed the boat. The last one, I think that was clean title and under 30,000 miles for under 200 grand. It was in Hawaii, and I was about to hit the button, and Stradman bought it and did videos on it. And I was so jealous the entire time. But I bought the SLS, I think, at the time. And it was so hard for years. I'm like, I can't justify paying $300. I can't, and then it kept going up. I can't justify paying $400. And so now it seems like there's finally a dip with those, just recently. and I do feel like one with miles. I think that might be next for me. I love the supercharged V8 behind your head and the noise it makes, and the manual transmission is so good in that car. I love it.
I love those cars as well. I missed the boat on it, and I don't know if I'll ever get it again.
Yeah.
But that would be, if I could consolidate a couple of cars into one thing, maybe, then that would probably be it. Right now, I'm oddly content with the number of cars, and I can't drive. I don't have time to drive fucking anything else.
Yeah.
Right now, it's kind of a job to drive the stuff I've got, which I'm not complaining, but it's just I want all of them to be driven more, and I don't. I have 4 press cars this week. Like, when the fuck am I supposed to drive anything of mine?
Right.
You know, and I don't live very far away. I don't have very many places to go.
Yeah. But
so
for me, like, I've kind of gathered what the cars I've always wanted: the Z8 and the 599 with the gated conversion. So, like, the amazing car with the Z8, that engine and just the experience, the gearbox and everything.
Yeah, they're delightful.
And then the 599's amazing. The Countach peak Lambo. So I'm stuck with these, and usually I was rotating into something bigger and better.
Yeah.
And I've quit doing that in the last couple of years and sort of cycled back to where I got started, which was in hoopties and buying the cheapest junky things, and I really enjoy doing that. So I'll probably just keep doing it. I don't. There's not other top of the mountain. Like, I don't feel like I would ever be the guy that buys the Koenigsegg like Stradman, or, you know,
that's pretty nuts.
Doug in his cars and bids money, you know, like, oh, that's this week I'm gonna get a, you know, we got the Countach Square GT, the, you know, all that. But I just don't see I couldn't be the guy. I don't know. I don't care how rich I am. I don't think I could really enjoy driving $1 million+ car. It wouldn't feel comfortable. Like, it's hard enough with the Countach and the values there. I'm just kind of like, a little scared, especially with that pearl white paint, which I know I scratch it, I'm repainting the whole car.
Yeah. I'm fortunate in that I'm not scared to drive that stuff. I mean, if I owned $1 million car, I might be, but yeah, I just maybe a consolidation somewhere. I did say I drove that Gunther Works Turbo, and I said I'd sell everything for one of these because that thing is batshit, and it ticks every box at once. But dreams have been achieved, and that's good. That's good. Maybe my dream is not more cars; it's less fucking stress. That's my dream right now.
It's at this point, because I have to get through all these renovations with the farm and building the building and all. Once it's all settled out and I have the dream set up, sort of like what you have here, then like I can take a long look and be like, okay, do I want to grind like this? Because like right now I need to do it to pay bills. And it's, do I continue and just, you know, post 1 or 2 videos a month and kind of relax a little bit more? Or I can't imagine doing anything else though. And because I've worked like years of opening Freddy's restaurants and flipping burgers and training people how to do that. And I've been a car dealer, was in the car business for 10 years and the grind of that. So doing this does not feel like a grind, but it's definitely a ton of work.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll figure it out. I think you'll be all right.
Thank you.
April seems all right. You got a shitload of cars. You got a farm.
Yeah.
You got gigs left and right. We'll see what happens with cable.
Right. Well, I have to come back not 7 years from now. Update again.
Yeah, make it sooner than 7 years. Hoovie's Garage on YouTube. You know, all the social media shit. What's the name of the morning show? It's like Good Morning YouTube.
Good Morning
YouTube.
Very easy, yeah.
Yeah, that's going over there.
Yeah.
You and April doing the thing. The studio looks nice.
Thank you.
Your backlit studio.
Yes, that's in the back barn. So this house was built in 1895. It has all these outbuildings. There's a milking barn, and then there's this one was just converted into a little barn-dominium condo where our studio's in. Yeah.
That's fun. I like that. It's good times. Well, thanks for coming to see us, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you to our patrons for asking such good questions today. And go out, grab our new merch. It's at thesmokingtire.com. Just click on the merch tab. All of it's up there. Finally back in the merch game. Everything's drop shipping quickly, so it should be ready to go. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.